Part 7 of the Runabout USS Ganges build-up. Made some pretty good progress on the warp nacelles. I've got them together now, and I've also gone round and putted the seams as well. So that's just drying at the moment. I have used, once again, the Perfect Plastic putty. I've had to go into those seams twice to fill them in. Some of them were a bit big, I must admit. The around the front of this one here, there was a huge gap between the sort of main body of the nacelle and also the Bassard scoop. There was a bit of a gap there, and there was also one on the other side. So you know, that took a couple of coats to fill in, but that's all done. And as you can see there, I've actually used masking tape to help protect the Bassard scoop, and I will actually leave that in place when I go back and just respray everything. But that's looking good. One of the other things that I did actually notice as well was on the back, I'd put a navigation light in the back as well as in the front as well. And it weren't long after I did that I suddenly realised that it should be an anti-collision light. So I've had to basically go back in, remove the old bulb. Unfortunately, they broke the super glue that I was using. You know, well, I mean, the bond was so strong it shattered the bulb when I tried to get it out. So I ended up going in with a drill bit to actually drill the rest of it out. So that was a bit of a nightmare. So lesson learnt there. I've now got an anti-collision light on board, which is great. So I'm liking the way that that's looking. So as a consequence, I've now got two sets of wires coming out the top instead of one. So I've had to mark those off now. But what I'll do is I'll get this set up for you so we can take a look at this with the lights on. So if you bear with me, I'll be back with you in a second. So I got the nacelles wired up now. I'll stick those on in a second for you. I just really wanted to show you the Bassard scoops on these. You can most probably see on the camera there that you do have a red tinge coming through on those, but they also look very, very dark indeed. I mean, they're almost a black, almost a translucent black. So they're looking pretty good. Now that was done by using the Tamiya X27 clear red on the inside, and then on the outside I sprayed it with the Tamiya X19 clear smoke to actually bring that hue down. And that kind of seems to have worked, because when it's in normal daylight conditions they do look fairly dark, and then when you light them up the red does shine through. I also coated the LED bulbs as well in those with a couple of layers of the smoke as well, just to try and help tone those down a bit, because they were looking a little bit too bright on their own. So what I'll do is I'll get this switched on. We're kind of jury-rigged really with this at the moment, so the wires are a little bit temperamental, but as you can see there, there's a fairly nice steady glow coming out of those. They are being overexposed slightly. They are washing out slightly on the camera. In person, that is a nice sort of steady glow. And then you can see the blue of the warp engines, the nacelles there, which are great. And then you've got the green navigation light on that side. We've got the red one there, and then at the back we've got the two anti-collision lights. They'll start blinking once I get the circuit board built and them being attached to it. But again, as with the DS9 model, that's one of the last things that I will be doing. So that's what that's looking like at the moment. So I'm quite happy with the progress on them. It's taken a little while to get to that stage. So as I say, all I need to do now is just go in and finish off the painting on the last couple of bits there. There are no decals that need to go on here. So once I've got this done, I just shoot it with a semi-gloss varnish just to help protect everything, and then I'll be able to move on to the corresponding wings and get them sorted out. So that's about it for the moment, guys. As soon as I've got the last couple of bits done to those, I'll come back to you so you can see what they look like. We've got the nacelles finished now. Basically, around the back end of the nacelles, I've purposely not filled in the seams completely. The reason being is that because we've got all of the panel lines going down the side of the nacelles on each side, I just decided that it would look good if we weren't to fill those seams in completely, because then it kind of brings that whole panel line theme into play with the whole thing. We've got the yellow details painted on now. I'm not sure what these parts are actually called, to be quite honest, so if somebody knows, let me know. It'd be interesting to find out. So that's all buttoned up now, and they're ready to go. I've had these testing, I think, now for about 20, maybe 30 hours, and you know, so far so good. So just a quick recap on the paint really that I've used for these. So the main body of the nacelles was the Humbrol acrylic paints, which is the 127, and that's the Ghost Grey. The yellow parts, they were done in the my own mixture really. I couldn't really tell you what the quantities were on that, but the base colours for that was the XF3, which is a yellow from Tamiya, and the Tamiya black rubber XF85, and all I did was just added a couple of drops of the black rubber in at a time until the yellow had lost its sheen really and taken on a slightly darker colour. So that's done. On the warp nacelles, sorry, on the Passat scoops, I sanded those down first on both sides to help frost them and help the light bounce around a bit better. On the inside I painted those, or sprayed those should I say, sorry, with the Tamiya Clear Red, which is the XF27, and then on the outside I followed that up with a couple of coats of the Tamiya Smoke, which is the X19. And then on the phaser arrays I used the Tamiya XF24, which is the dark grey. And then I used on the inside of the warp nacelles, the clear part, I did use the Tamiya Clear Blue, which is the XF23, and then on the outside I gave that a light dusting of the Tamiya Copper, which is the XF56. So that's basically finished those off, so they're done. So I'm just going to put those to bed now until such time that I need them. So I'm going to carry on with the wings for the nacelles. What I've done so far is, you can most probably remember from previous segments, I've said that I wanted to, let me just unzoom the camera, there we go. I said that I wanted to do some panel lining on these, so that's pretty much what I'm doing there. I've just got the both of the wings masked off to put the first layer of paneling on there. I'm only using 2 shades for this, and what I've basically done is I've made up my own paint. So in this bottle here we've got what I call a blue-grey, and that's basically been used, that's basically been using a combination of the Tamiya Ocean Grey 2, which is an RAF colour, and that's the XF82. I used that as the base colour for this. And again, I couldn't tell you the exact same quantities of what I used because I just, you know, done this by eye really. But I did use the Tamiya Flat White, which is the 2. I also used the Tamiya light blue, which is the XF23, and I also used the Tamiya sky blue, which is the X14, and that does actually come out quite nice. And then the other colour that I've got, which is this one, this is obviously slightly lighter. I've called it silver grey. Again, basically with this one, it's just a combination of the ocean grey and the flat white, and then I've also added the Tamiya. Sorry, I can't remember the name of it now. Sorry, that's it. Yeah, the Tamiya XF16, which is the flat aluminium, or aluminum if you're in America. Oh, I love language. So that's what that looks like. So hopefully, I'm kind of hoping with some aluminium in there, that should hopefully give it a bit of a nice metallic look to it. But we'll soon see. So that's where I am at the moment. As soon as I've got all the panel lining done to the wings, I will come back to you. So I've got all of the paint down now on the exterior side of the wings. The only thing that's left to do with these now is to add a coat of clear varnish over the top of these. So if we just take a look, we've got the primary colour down there, which is the Humbrol acrylic paint. That's the 127, and that's a ghost grey. And then if we look here, we've got the silver grey that I added. And the good thing is with this is that at certain angles you can see a little bit of metallic paint coming through. And this is the blue grey that I mixed up as well for the model. And then these little panels here and these ones across there, they have been done with the sky grey, which is the XF19. This panel here is the German grey, which is the XF63. This little panel here is done with the light grey, which is the XF66. This little panel here is the same paint that I used in the cockpit, and that was a mixture of the light blue XF23 and the neutral grey XF57. And then these little panels here, I've used the XF57 buff. It does actually on the instructions call for a dark sand, but when I look at the model on the TV, it does actually look a little bit darker than a sand. That's why I've gone with that one. And then on this side here, we've got the XF24, which is the dark grey, and then we've got the little bits of piping in there as well, which is the XF16 flat aluminium. So that's actually looking pretty good. I'm pleased with the progress on those. I'm happy with the way that they've turned out. So all I need to do now, as I say, is just get those coated with some clear varnish, just to help to protect the paint really. I do believe that there is a decal that goes on around this area here on these. I think it's just the registry that goes on. I'm not quite sure, but I think that is the case. The only things that I really need to do, concentrate on this now, is where we've got these two little holes. I've gone down a different route with the lighting for the sensor suite, as I'm putting a few lights in there. I wasn't really sure how I was going to get the wires through to that, considering it's really a separate body on the ship. And after talking to Keith Purcell, he came up with the idea of using rare earth magnets. So I can basically run the current through the rare earth magnets, and also they will keep the sensor dome attached to the wings. If I want to keep it displayed with the sensor dome on, I just leave it in place. If I don't want it on there, I can then just quickly just remove that, and that's not a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. So what that does mean for me is in this little area here somewhere, more than likely closer to this edge, I will need to cut out a little section for the magnets. I'll just show you how small they are actually, because they are quite tiny and they are very powerful actually. These are very powerful magnets for their size. They punch way above their own weight really. Let me just get them out of the packet. So these are the magnets I'm going to use. Now these are all joined together, but hopefully you'll see there how many there are. So they're quite tiny, so I just need to drill a little hole and fit that in flush. I'll most probably end up using super glue for those. But I'll be able to solder the wires onto the edges of those. So I have one wire, one magnet attached to the wing on this side, which should carry the wire, and then another magnet there, which is just a magnet on its own. And then I'll be able to do the same for that on the arm for the sensor dome. And that will just lock that in place, and as I say, I'll be able to remove it if and when I like. So that's pretty cool. So that's about it for this segment of the video, guys, because this is getting a bit long. So I'm going to call it quits, and I will catch up with you in part 8, where hopefully I'll have all of the work done to the wings and have them attached to the pylons too. So I'll catch up with you in the next video, guys. Until then, thanks for watching, and please do take care.